You've had a fantastic night out, but the morning after? Not so much. We've all been there, waking up with that dreaded hangover. But what's the science behind that pounding headache, and why does your body feel like it's been hit by a truck after those extra drinks? And more importantly, how can we treat and prevent it? Spoiler alert. Drink lots of water, eat carbs, and take an ibuprofen. Now let's dive in and craft our understanding of hangovers. Hangovers, in essence, are our body's not-so-subtle way of saying, hey, you overdid it last night. It's defined as a cocktail of mental and physical symptoms, felt the day after excessive consumption, that kicks in when the alcohol level in our blood nears zero.
Why is the rum always gone?
Hangovers are never pleasant, but certain factors can amplify their effects, turning a slight headache into a full day in bed. Let's dive into what can escalate a hangover from bad to a full-blown ordeal. Factors influencing hangover severity. Alcohol quantity. Ever heard of know your limit? There's science behind it. It refers to consuming a higher than usual quantity, so it varies for each person, but, on average, consuming 1.5 to 1.75 grams per kilograms of body mass almost always results in hangover symptoms. That's equivalent to 5 to 7 standard cocktails. Congeners in drinks. These are byproducts of fermentation. Darker alcoholic beverages like tequila or whiskey tend to cause worse hangovers than clearer ones like vodka or gin. Smoking, yes, that cigarette with your drink can make things worse.
Relax, have a smoke. You smoke?
Genetic vulnerability. Some of us are just unlucky. Studies have shown a direct link between genetic predisposition to alcoholism and hangover severity. For instance, those with alcoholic parents tend to have more severe hangovers. On the other hand, about 8% of the population is immune to hangovers, even after consuming large amounts of alcohol. Must be nice. Physical activities. Intense physical effort while drinking can lead to more severe symptoms the next day. Emotional state. Feelings of guilt, anger, or depression during intoxication can influence the severity of your hangover. Other psychoactive substances. Obviously, consuming alcohol with other mind-altering substances can worsen hangover effects.
A whole galaxy of multicolored uppers, downers, screamers, laughers.
Food intake. Lack of eating can increase hangover effects. Sleep quality. Reduced quality and/or quality of sleep can worsen the hangover experience. Dehydration. Alcohol can dehydrate you, so starting your drinking session already dehydrated can set the stage for a more severe hangover. Overall health. Your general health condition, including any underlying illnesses or conditions, can influence how your body processes and reacts to alcohol. The science behind hangovers. Oddly enough, despite extensive research into this phenomenon, scientists still aren't entirely certain about the mechanics of a hangover. However, there are some pretty good theories. 1. The dehydration theory. You know that parched feeling you get after a night of drinking? That's because alcohol is a diuretic, meaning it makes you pee more and also causes you to be thirsty. This can lead to dehydration and an imbalance of electrolytes in your body. So, always remember to drink water before, during, and after drinking.
Must drink the sacred water.
2. The acetaldehyde buildup hypothesis. When we drink, our body breaks down alcohol into a substance called acetaldehyde. In high amounts, this substance can be harmful and produces symptoms similar to those of a hangover. However, scientists still debate whether acetaldehyde is solely responsible for hangover symptoms. Interestingly, many individuals, particularly those from East Asia, may experience facial flushing after consuming even small amounts of alcohol. This reaction is attributed to elevated acetaldehyde levels, caused by a delay in metabolizing the substance. Genetics, always keeping things interesting. 3. Direct damage. It has been suggested that alcohol has direct toxic effects on the body. You can think of alcohol as a poison that induces electrolyte imbalances, gastric irritation, hypoglycemia, and sleep disturbances. 4. The congeners. As mentioned previously, they are substances present in alcoholic beverages, produced during fermentation or added in the production process. It is believed that these congeners can contribute to the intensity and frequency of hangovers. For example, drinks with a high content of congeners, such as red wine or whiskey, tend to produce more severe hangovers compared to clear drinks like vodka.
18% alcohol?
5. Neurotransmitters. Alcohol plays with our brain chemicals, leading to everything from euphoria to drowsiness. It affects a variety of neurotransmitter systems, including the GABA, glutamate, dopamine, serotonin, and endocannabinoid systems. The initial stimulating effects of alcohol intoxication are related to dopamine, which produces a feeling of euphoria and pleasure. Later, as more alcohol is consumed, the balance tilts towards the GABA neurotransmitter, which is primarily responsible for inhibiting the nervous system and consequently leading to drowsiness, poor motor control, and disinhibited behavior. 6. Inflammation. Ethanol can have a profound impact on inflammation-related processes, both peripherally and in the brain. When ethanol is administered, it induces a certain degree of neuronal damage as a result of increased oxidative stress and the activation of the inflammatory response. An inflammatory response can lead to a variety of symptoms, such as nausea, vomiting, headaches, confusion, tremors, as well as clinical depression. Indirect evidence for inflammation contributing to alcoholic hangovers has been indicated by the fact that anti-inflammatory drugs and antioxidants reduce the severity of hangover symptoms.
I'm never gonna drink again.
We all learned in school that the mitochondria are our cells' powerhouses. It does a bunch of other important processes, like dealing with toxic wastes called free radicals. Ethanol-induced damage to mitochondrial DNA, especially in the brain, has been studied in detail. Brain cells depend on mitochondria and operate at the limits of availability. Therefore, even slight mitochondrial damage can lead to increased production of free radicals, causing toxicity in various brain regions, such as the cerebellum and prefrontal cortex. These regions are primarily involved in movement control and explain the disturbances felt by consumers in maintaining balance while walking and coordinating movements. Neuronal mitochondria play an important role in neuron development as well, so their dysfunction can lead to short and long-term intellectual impairment. The hangover state, with all its unpleasant symptoms, is a multifactorial event that involves a variety of biochemical and neurochemical events, as well as genetic factors that lead to the onset of symptoms. Alcohol's journey in our body. When you take a sip, alcohol is quickly absorbed by the gastrointestinal tract, especially by the small intestine. Its distribution in the body is uniform, so it spreads evenly, correlating with the water content of the tissues throughout the body.
It spreads and spreads.
It's important to note that alcohol can pass through the placenta, thus entering the fetal circulation, with potential negative consequences on fetal development. Of the total amount of alcohol ingested, over 90% is broken down, while the rest is eliminated unchanged through the lungs, kidneys, and skin. The breakdown of alcohol, called oxidation, primarily takes place in the liver and is specific to each individual. On average, the body can oxidize about 10 to 15 milliliters of ethanol every hour, equivalent to one alcoholic drink.
What about one drink? Would you smell from one drink?
The liver transforms alcohol into acetaldehyde, with the help of an enzyme called alcohol dehydrogenase and a variant of vitamin B3. Having a high degree of toxicity, acetaldehyde is quickly transformed into acetate by the enzyme aldehyde dehydrogenase. It is subsequently converted into fatty acids and cholesterol and finally into carbon dioxide and water. Acute symptoms, the morning after. Headache, that pounding drum in your head. General malaise, feeling like you've been hit by a truck. Diarrhea and loss of appetite, your stomach's way of saying, "Why did you do this?" Tremors and fatigue, your body's SOS. Nausea, the world spinning, and not in a good way.
The world is spinning and spinning and spinning.
Heartbeat rhythms, from rapid beats to palpitations, your heart's playing its own tune. Blood pressure is high when sitting down and gets really low when you stand up. Mental fog, attention deficit, spatial disorientation, concentration issues, and a black hole in your memories. Sensory overload, light and noise? No, thank you. Physical woes, dry mouth, muscle cramps, weakness, and that annoying abdominal burn. Emotional roller coaster, from irritability to anxiety and unmotivated sadness, it's a wild ride. Long-term effects, the unseen consequences. It's important to note that in the case of regular, long-term alcohol consumption, it affects all systems and organs in the body. Hypoglycemia, your body's sugar levels plummet. Hyperlipidemia, too many fats in the bloodstream. Hyperuricemia, uric acid overload. Gastro nightmares, esophagitis, gastritis, and duodenal ulcer. Digestive woes, malabsorption and a troubled pancreas. Livers cry for help. From a fatty liver to cirrhosis, it's a downward spiral. Blood disorders, anemias of all sorts. Heart's silent scream, beriberi heart disease and cardiomyopathy. Hormonal chaos, a testosterone-estrogen tug-of-war. Skin's SOS, from redness to visible blood vessels. Remember, while a night out once in a while is fun, long-term use is anything but treatment. So, you're gearing up for a night out and want to avoid that dreaded hangover? Or maybe you're already feeling the aftermath of last night's party? Fear not. We've got the ultimate hangover guide for you. Preventive prep. N-acetylcysteine. Mucomyst, acetidote, pop in 600 to 1,800 milligrams about an hour before you start sipping. Live 52, take 6 tablets a couple of hours before your first drink. L-cysteine, 1,200 milligrams, 3 hours before you hit the party. Pyridinol, it's like vitamin B6, cool cousin. 1,200 milligrams, 3 hours prior. Diet tip. Chow down on a meal loaded with fats and carbs 2 hours before drinking. It's the perfect excuse for that cheat meal. Hydration, plenty of water, especially at the start of your night. Symptomatic relief. Rehydration salts, your body's crying out for these. Mix and drink. Ibuprofen, 200 to 400 milligrams should do the trick. Antiemetics, feeling queasy? Antiemetics like Reglan or even natural ginger can help settle that stomach. Antacids, Tums, Gaviscon, pick your fighter to combat that acid. Diet tip. Eat up. Stabilize that low blood sugar. Rest and sleep. Sometimes, the best medicine is a good old
Hamburgers, the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
In the end, a hangover is a reminder from our body that we've overdone it with the drinks. Each of us reacts differently to alcohol. Genetics and the type of drink can influence how bad we feel the next day. The best advice? Drink in moderation and listen to your body. And, of course, a glass of water in between drinks never hurts. Cheers to responsible fun. Craft your brain. Subscribe for more.